still trying to check my options before embarking on that quest.
Okay, so if things were not that expensive, would you have loved to travel?
Of course I would. I mean, the village is somewhere everybody wants to be during the festive period, Christmas and the New Year. So it's something I always look forward to, even as a child and as an adult. So it's something I love. So what about you? What are your plans for the holidays?
Well, frankly speaking, no plans. As of now,
Okay.
31st day in the month of October, no plans. Maybe from tomorrow, the plans may start. Maybe 2 weeks after. But say for plans, for festivities, absolutely none. And that is far because, of course, traveling from one place to another.
It's really expensive.
It's very expensive, really expensive. So I was speaking to someone earlier, and he was saying that to travel from ENUGU to Lagos right now is something in the neighborhood of between 35 and 50,000 naira, depending on the transport company. An average travel from ENUGU to Abuja is also around that same neighborhood. So you would wonder whether people are going to travel to celebrate. But if you cannot travel, make do where you are.
Exactly. I feel like if you can't travel, you could just utilize the money that you'd rather spend on transportation and do other things, maybe send it home to your loved ones and take care of yourself for the festive period. Because aside from the money you budget to travel with, you still have to come back, and being there, you have to spend a whole lot of money.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So I feel it's reasonable to check your pockets before you embark on that journey.
Fabulous. So let's go straight to the headlines on our dailies this morning. Do stay with us. So we're kickstarting with the Punch newspaper this morning. Below the mast, petrol rise in costs. Marketers writes Dangote over bulk purchase deal with the rider. Eatman, Petron, I refineries, 500 million naira PMS reserves. Queues in Abuja after NNPCL's price hike.
Fubara appeals as court stops Rivers allocations on page 2. And we have striking varsity workers vow showdown as FG rebuffs talks on the page A48.
Tinubu appoints Oluyede acting chief of army staff as Labaja undergoes treatment.
PDP APC trade blame over campaign violence.
Bianca Ojukwu, other ministers sets for swearing in after Senate's confirmation.
SDP upbeat as deep goal candidates defect to APC.
Food inflation, 7 imported wheat vessels arrived Nigeria.
Police arrest 1,246 arms dealers, kidnappers, recover 3,172 ammunitions in October.
Moving over to the Nation newspaper, and below the masts, assigning portfolios to ministerial nominees excites senators. With the writer, Senate clears all 7 nominees amidst drama and banters. Nominations of Ambassador Ojukwu, evidence of inclusive government.
Sanwo-Olu Enolays 18th floor Ibom Towers Foundation in Lagos State. Vessels with petrol jet A1 overbreath in Lagos.
EFCC arrests refineries MD over $35 million brass project frauds.
Court stops CBN and AGF from releasing allocation to Rivers.
Traditional rulers to get constitutional role in governments.
ADC candidate promises approved security.
All the details you can find on The Nation. We're moving over to the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. On the Tribune, Fubara talks tough. Atiku warns as court stops CBN from releasing allocation to Rivers. With the rider defection, court strikes out pro-Wike lawmakers suit against INEC, PDP and others.
Reps move to revoke Bishop Oyedepo's church airstrip license. Court grants Abia lawmaker 500,000 naira bail over assault on Bolt's driver.
Eatman replies Dangote, marketers spend days at your refinery unable to load petrol.
EFCC arrests 55 Yahoo boys in Ofia.
Court grants Abia lawmaker 500,000 naira bail over assaults on boat driver.
And we have Adeleke denies receiving 8 billion naira Lautech refund.
You can find the details in the Nigerian Tribune this morning. On The Guardian, new twist as Rivers stakeholders fault allocation suspension order.
Energy costs Japa Syndrome 2 threatens survival of varsity system.
Tinubu appoints Oluyede as acting army chief.
Tax reform bills. Ndume Arewa Group locks horn as NGF traditional rulers meet.
INEC blames non-trial of offenders on outdated laws and others.
Elected officials selfish, undermining citizens' welfare, Jaga laments.
TCN restores power to North as IHRC says 1.5 trillion naira lost to blackout.
Senate confirms Tinubu's 7 ministerial nominees.
All right, that's all on The Guardian. On the Daily Trust this morning, Dangote marketers in fresh row over sale of petrol with the rider. We are ready to buy from private refinery, but Nigerians demand fuel price reduction and availability.
Atiku cautions as court stops monthly releases to Rivers states.
Power restored in Kano, Plateau, Bauchi, Gombe, Benue, Kaduna, Nasarawa.
We are ready to buy from private refinery, but marketers.
All right, Senate confirms Dangiadi, Suwaiba, Maiha, 4 others as ministers.
Tinubu appoints Oluyede acting chief of army staff.
Abducted female doctor, nephew regained freedom after 10 months.
Don't take everything IMF World Bank tells you. Legal tells federal government.
Well, moving over to the Blueprint newspaper this morning, FCTA targets 250,000 across 200 communities for BP sugar level screening.
World Bank ties fresh $750 million loan for Nigeria to tax increases.
2023 electoral offenders. INEC tackles Serap, says we are not in contempt of courts.
DECO resumes as NSC chairman, unveils 3-point agenda.
All right, Glow 9 Mobile hard hits as telcos drop 64.3 million subscribers in NIN SIM drive.
Do not lose guard in defense of democracy, Idris charges the media.
Governor Eno to Nigerians, Tinubu's reforms will soon bear fruits.
Atiku cautions as court halts CBN from releasing allocation to Fubara.
Do not lose guard in defense of democracy, Idris charges media. On the Vanguard this morning, above the mast, Atiku, Masab, others won as court stops monthly allocations to Rivers.
Workers poorer now despite pay increases, Oshimole laments.
Tinubu appoints Major General Olufemi Oluyode acting Chief of Army Staff.
Okay, and we are determined to flush out terrorists in Nigeria, says Defense Minister.
Federal government justifies 4 toll gates on Abuja, Kefi, Makurdi Expressway.
And we have FIFA under 20 WWC NFF proud of Flamingos outing, Sanusi.
All the details on the Vanguard. We're moving over. Okay, that may just be the last paper this morning. We're back to the studio to speak to our in-house analyst, Chris Maduka. Good to have you. Good morning.
Good morning, Charles. And good morning, Quinsley.
Good morning, Mr. Chris.
You're looking bright and early.
As you.
And that's wonderful. Well, Charles, shoot your shoot.
I mean, there's so many things to talk about, but
before you shoot, I was hearing your conversation with Quinsley talking about travel, and I was like, Charles, you still have travel in your life? And traveling to hell? And traveling to where? Because what's the cost? You know, there's this proverb in my place. It said, if you use 1 billion naira to carve your teeth, how much will you get when you laugh or smile? So, traveling in Nigeria is a very rare liberty and luxury. It's no more contemplated. I was talking here the other day that when people die in the villages now, I'm using our area of dominant influence, ENUGU, to talk about. People can go to their nearest village for those social things that you normally do because of cost. And you're talking about Christmas where you have to move family and go back to meet the folks in the village. You have to spend money, and people come who are hungry, expecting you're coming from the city for you to share, goodies and all that.
I mean, Mr. Chris.
And we have to ask, because of Nigeria, we have to ask God to shift the Christmas for this year. The world is seems to be moving too fast for Nigeria, so we stop the world. Let Nigeria jump out. This boss of the world is too fast. And I think it's Nigeria that set their own boss on autopilot, and they can't even
stop it.
They can't even meet up. And we are crying and crying and crying, and some people are laughing and smiling. After all, the Senate president said, that he said they are crying and they are chopping. I don't know what the quote was saying, and the advisor was, whenever you see food, chop now. So that's on a lighter note, and we should keep going.
All right. So in continuation of our discussion regarding Dangote, talking about complaining that the marketers yesterday are not coming to buy from him. There are people who are still importing instead of coming to buy from him. Ipman is out saying that that's wrong, that tankers are lined up in Dangote refineries and they are not able to lift fuel for days. And so you wonder, really, where is this coming from?
Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Charles. The whole thing is not coming from anywhere. Look at the simple mathematics, because when these people talk, you start with wondering who they are talking to. For some of us who are over 40 years in Nigeria, we remember those days of NNPC and their depots around the country. There's one in ENUGU. If precisely on MNA Road, you go there, you see tankers and trucks parked for months waiting to load. They even created temporary parking sites where I was telling them, I said, these people should turn this into another city for tankers and truckers so that they start getting money from them, because they park along the road, and let them create somewhere where they park, and then, those things fizzled out over time because NNPC and their depot, and they have become moribund. For these marketers to come within few days that Dangote has just started operation to lay claims that they were there and they cannot load, they are looking for a bad name for the dog to murder the dog. They have not waited the longer they wait at NNPCL depots to load. Let them leave these stories and tell it to the dogs. Dangote has billions of liters of fuel refined. And they're not expecting that they line up there. It's not like COP. You go there with COP, you scoop and then go. They have a method of going to load and processes. And these truckers know Dangote's own has not changed any situation. Okay, going to Dangote to load is long. But importing
is easier.
It's easier. Where the batches and the boat that the cargoes, all those ships that carry this thing stay months. Months in the sea. Not talking about when they bath, and you're talking about processes of clearing them before they discharge and before they take. What are these people talking about? Listen, my Igbo people talk in a proverb. Now, if you want to kill a dog, just go ahead. Don't give it a bad name. I'm not saying they didn't give Dangote time. Let them begin to load, and then over time, Dangote will consolidate and ease off the ease of loading. They have allowed a bulk. I mean, they've not been taking over time. There's now so much that is costing the man so much, according to him, to even keep those excess that they've not come to take. They are still wanting Dangote. Okay, if they don't buy from Dangote, Dangote will export. And they will eventually go abroad and bring it back. Yeah. That would be faster. Is that what they're saying?
I just feel this drama. I'm beginning to think that...
You use the right word. In fact, it's another version of Nollywood drama. And scene 1, act 1, they say, action. Ip Man will play. NNPCL, the director. Then the villain, the protagonist, and Dangote is just I throw, all those kind of things. And Nigerians are watching in the big theater. Incidentally, we are paying 1,400 on average to watch the drama that NNPCL set for us with the marketers, in connection with the marketers, for us to watch over. And then say this marketers, Ape Man. What are the Nigerians waiting for? No, Nigerians are very resilient people. Ape Man is an association. Charles, maybe me and you will form Ip Women. When we form Ip Women, we go and begin to live well. If we can wait for months to take fuel from Dangote and sell, it won't become an issue. This Ip Man that want to import from abroad because Dangote is delaying. Their legendary case of tortoise that was tied down to a place where it was filled with things that are smelly. But they were telling him, Mr. Tortoise, just wait. Few days' time we will receive you. And the man started making noise. Come on, release me here. You have kept me here for too long. It's smelly. This is a man who has been there years. In the smelly shit of non-performing NNPCL and their refineries. And now, a beautiful refinery has appeared. And they have given this man a lot of hassles that they've not even allowed him to breathe one day to sell the refined product. They are talking from both sides of their mouth. The man will talk, they will reply. So they prolong the issue so that Nigerians continue to buy 1,000. All this delay, all this talk is that to make sure that even the relief we are hoping for that the job will drop, even by a naira, that they did not achieve it. So they should tell that to the dogs, Ip Man, my leg. If they can't buy from Dangote, let them go back with NNPZ, import, and do round the robin and sell to Nigeria. Let them leave Dangote alone. And the Dangote they should leave alone. Remember I said he is not totally innocent because he has not told Nigeria how much his refined product is selling at. Until he does that, he would have stopped so much things so that if we find a way, those of us that can wait for months to load and buy, then we go there and load up. Those ones who want to go to import from Bulgaria, Angola, and Mexico should continue. It's a free world, but you cannot stop yourself from moving and want to stop others. That's where we have issues. It's a free world. Wherever you see fuel, buy. Just like the Senate president has advised. Anywhere you see food, chop. Why didn't see anywhere you see fuel, buy? If we see from Dangote, we buy. Those ones who want to buy from abroad, they can go and buy. But when they buy at their price and come down, let the NNPCL not to regulate. Because you go abroad to buy, you sell at the price you bought and your landing cost. Those who go to Lagos to buy from Dangote, let nobody go and sit down there and say it's a monopoly buyer and seller. That is the satanic angle of it. And in the world, you're talking about let the market regulate. You want to import your own landing cost. If it lands at 2005, sell to Nigerians if they buy. Good luck. If Dangote is selling at 1,000 naira, Nigerians, they will decide where they buy from. And over time, the situation market will regulate. But this idea of NNPC, that's why I could not stop calling them. They are the ones who went and spoiled this whole thing from the source to go and tell us they are monopoly buyer and seller of product you do not have anything to do with it. God will judge them.
All right. This issue is still very, very, very touching because, like you mentioned, we're beginning to see the hands of Dangote in it. You can't be complaining all the time and saying this problem from one problem to another. If we don't see the effect of these complaints since you started selling or dishing this fuel to NNPC or the independent marketers, nothing really has changed. So Nigerians are beginning to get tired of his complaints and looking towards maybe there's a panky between Dangote and even the marketers themselves.
You know, you really need to give people a very long rope before you really tie them. Have Nigerian Ipman, have they agreed to buy from Dangote? At what price is Dangote selling to them? Are they still going through, when somebody went there, mess up the water and stay off, then the marketers are, where were the marketers when NNPCL said you were the monopoly buyer of a product you don't know anything about? They messed the whole thing up. And all of them are complicit and suspect of the problem we are suffering. And that's why, because it's an issue of money, and we're not talking about 1 naira or 2 naira, we're talking about billions of dollars business. These people have lost all sense of humanity, and I make bold to say it.
So the appointment of ministers, screening, and of course Bianca Ojukwu's appointment by the president. So many persons have welcomed the developments.
No, if you say so many, we want to know the data.
There are 7 of them, including Bianca Ojukwu.
Yes, there were 7 ministers appointed. You say so many welcome what?
Yeah, that it cuts across party lines. And so many persons looked at it as a welcome development because, again, because of who she was affiliated to, one would think that, you know, it's the no-go area. And for the fact that 2027 is around the corner, maybe it's another way of appealing to the consciences of people of the Southeast. If I appointed
Charles, you were just saying possibility. You just say, in political space of Nigeria, anything is possible. But as far as I'm concerned, there are certain things that you would do if you give it deep thought. It's marks of, you know, taking what they call a swipe. It's a mockery. I sat down with some people and they were analyzing and said, why is it that when you want to, this is not in this case, there was certain time people were being appointed during the days of OBJ. He said, OBJ, Obasanjo, our much revered Obasanjo, want to appoint a minister from Igbo land. He want to go back to the files, people who have dent in their files, and keep it aside and then call you and say, I want to make you either the Senate president. Then you booger and go for Thanksgiving. But over time, they now pull up and say, do you remember this story? That 40 years ago, you were working as a civil servant, you stole £2. You say, don't forget that before you make noise, because they will give you a claim on that. So if you look at the whole of Igbo land, the way it is, and you feel that when you appoint our dear Bianca Ojukwu as a main Igbo nation in whatever they think they hold that is their gross, I think it's taking this joke too far. You don't use a hammer to kill an ant because you will not achieve anything. What am I saying? There are bigger things that Igbo nation I know are looking for from the hand of our dear president, the Jagaban, the president, Bola Tinubu. Just appointing a minister of this a good position, well thought out, but then the wife of Dim Ikemba Ojukwu. It's a move, but I think no more need to be done. I think I will leave it at that. More need to be done and as a pro across. and more need to be done. If you want, talking about government of inclusion and all the things that you need to bring the Igbo nation into your government for them to buy into what you are doing and really get your support. You still need more to be done. And I think they have people they consult. I'm not speaking for, but we have Pan-Igbo social organization they call Ohaneze and other Igbo opinion leaders of thought that should consult and they should tell you more. I'm not speaking for them. But if you ask me, more need to be done to pull the Igbo nation in and then for them to open up and get their support. Because they have complained on several fronts. They have complained several issues that just one appointment of a minister might not be able to have solved everything. But a journey of 100 miles, they say, start with a pace. So good luck to the appointed ministers. Thank you, Jagaban, for remembering to appoint a wife of Dim Ikemba Ojukwu as Minister of Finance, Minister of State for Foreign Affairs. That's wonderful. Ambassador Bianca Ojukwu, congratulations.
Right. Okay, so there are other headlines that we're following for you. I don't know if we have our producers. Our producers can assist in getting us this particular video that we used on our news earlier. Fubara was reacting to the recent judgment by the Federal High Court, where the High Court stated clearly that allocations by the CBN to the Rivers State government should be halted. And that's because the governor has refused to represent the budget to the Amewole-led faction of the Rivers Assembly. So if our producer is already, let's get that video out and then maybe play back and see. Okay, we would get back that in a bit, but I just wanted to hear your reaction because this is something
He's talking tough.
Yeah, it's something that played out. It's something that played out in Lagos. You know, similar incidents where Obasanjo was the president, Tinubu was the governor of Lagos State, and Obasanjo withheld local government allocations. But Lagos State, because of how big and huge it is, and the fact that it has its
was it local government allocation? Was it budget? The allocation wasn't it just for? It was a local government issue that brought it. Tinubu then they're talking about their right. They interpret, and the ones who implement will implement. The court do not implement. They interpret laws. So when you bring the constitution, or whether they have right, they will interpret the constitution and they quote that during Tinubu's era with Obasanjo, that's the kind of thing they refer to as when they are using, the court process. They say this happened, and their location were seized. Then they can then revert to down, even between Fubara. I don't know even what Fubara, against who Fubara's case is. Is it Fubara against River State? Is it Fubara against one man? Is it Fubara against Wike? Is it Fubara against who that they were making?
The factional part of the assembly.
And then he has made his presented his budget
to 4 people instead of the.
No, if you are not in the moving ship, because the buck stops, and it's not the first time that if you want to pull the carpet from under his legs, and he has the power as governor, whatever he's doing, it's to establish that he's the governor of Rivers State, and that he has fought to this level. Whatever they're doing now is, if you cannot beat him in the fight, even if it's to scratch, to bite off one of his nose or his ears, to now show that you have this man has, because this man has engaged in this fight. There was nothing. He has beaten his opponents right, left, center, up, down, surround, buru buru. Now the last fight is, what do we do to Fubara now? Okay, let's just scratch. He's talking tough still because with
or without
River State working under the derivation that is so many other things. You would get allocation. The River State with what he has going for it. But I pity the big organizations who are in rivers. For when you see the chicken scattering human feces with the legs, pursue it. Because you don't know who will eat the legs of that chicken when it's killed. So somebody might be doing this now. And some people think, okay, it doesn't concern us. If he worked in Lagos during Obasanjo. If he works in rivers during the reign of Bola Tinubu, someday, whatever goes around comes around. So you better stop that chicken scattering human feces with the legs now. You might be the person who will eat the leg when it's killed for lunch. And don't go think it doesn't concern you, because whatever Fubara is doing, I think they've made the man so much of an underdog that he has attracted all the pity. Initially, he wasn't as innocent as his name, but the underdog status given to him as they are finishing this man, they are fighting him, or they are doing this, they don't allow him, has given him all the support he required. And now he has won the battle to this level. And now the only thing is that the court said, as he has won all the battle, the only thing is that now we will stop.
I mean, even at that time, Supreme Court even gave a judgment stating that it was wrong for Obasanjo to have withheld those local government,
but the interpretation of court orders in Nigeria, court will finish interpreting, then the implementers will do. Nigeria, you weigh Nigeria in rule of law scale, Nigeria is almost zero. And then we are talking about, is even that we are talking about who decided. Nigerian governance system is who is pushing. And the other day, CGN, yesterday we saw the headline where they say they are going to move to store this counter or judge. The politicians have decided to mess the much hallowed chambers of law in Nigeria. They've messed them up because they pulled them in, and they have put them in, and they made sure that they put them in to mess them up. They now use them as pawn in the chessboard of Nigerian devilish satanic political equation. That the law is no more the last hope for common man. And then for how long it will continue, only God knows. So let's watch. But with or without the Fubara, is still talking tough. Shame on all those people who are fighting. And for the single young Fubara to have beaten them to pulp to this level, and they're just scratching the surface now and doing their last fight. It's shame on them. But we say, hey, we dissolve River State. There's no state like Rivers again. It's possible for you, the court. Go ahead. You guys are in Nigeria. You're human beings. You, the way you make your mouth, to lie on it. You call yourself the hallowed chambers, the lawyers, and all. And this is what the history of Nigerian, we write about Nigerian legal system. Contradictions, people talk, the court in Abuja talk, the court in Onitsha talk, the court in Enugu talk. All of you are controversies, and if you don't settle it, that's the next calamity that hit Nigeria. And we have no other place to go. God bless Nigeria.
Amen. It was wonderful having you on the show as always, Mr. Chris. And right now we'll have to go on a short break and we'll be back.